Samsung Radioshack 500 on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser. It's time for a fresh one. Grab a Budweiser. The race is on. Four laps complete in front of a huge crowd here in Texas, perhaps the second largest crowd of the entire NASCAR season, second only to Indianapolis. 170,000 in the seats and suites, plus a large packed infield and a over 400-acre campground. This is big. And Casey Kane, the rookie, taking them to task. He now has a 3-second lead on Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott, Ryan Newman, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has moved up into the top 5. Matt?
Casey Kane continues to lead the way. Casey telling his crew chief, Tom Baldwin Jr., the car is free on entry, and it's snug a little bit in turns 1 and 2, but not bad down in 3 and 4. Tommy's expecting to pit the 9 car around lap 79.
Thanks, Matt. We've talked about Casey Kane, his occasional teammate, Bill Elliott, who's in 3rd. What about the other Evernham car, Jeremy Mayfield, who has come all the way now to 19th place?
Yeah, he qualified in the 21st position on Friday, but they had an engine problem right before qualifying, so that means they had to change that engine, and they had to go to the rear of the field. But, Jeannie, he has a mighty fast race car like his teammates.
Well, exactly, Larry Mack. And Jeremy hoping that he got the bad luck out of the way. As you mentioned, he had to make an engine change prior to qualifying. It was an oil leak. They never found out what the problem was, but they were happy to make the change. If it was going to be a disaster, then they'd rather it come on Friday. But again, it is easier to pass on Friday than it is on Sunday. So he has this work cut out for him, but they are not concerned. Talked to the crew earlier this morning, and they said this car is set up very similar to the 9 and the 91. So just check out the track. That should give you an answer just how good Jeremy Mayfield could be today.
Thanks, Jeannie. When we went to break, it was a Dodge front 5. One of those Dodges has fallen back. Rusty Wallace, who took 2 tires back at the only caution of the day, now finds himself in 13th.
But 2 other cars that changed 2 tires are still in the top 5. Ryan Newman, his teammate in the 12, and Sterling Marlin in the 40 car running in 2nd. You know, I think the band of a good handling car is narrow anyhow. When you go to 2 tires, it really narrows it up. You really have to have a good driving race car to be able to pull off changing just 2 tires.
And this guy right here, Rusty Wallace, he's never been a 2-tire guy. I've always felt like he likes 4 tires. What do you think, Matty? Both the 2 and the 12 took 2 tires like you're talking about, Darrell. Both had the same tendency, tight on exit. Both made adjustments to the chassis. Rusty's car going the wrong way, Ryan's car going the right way. Ryan says the car is a little bit free on entry, but not bad. Rusty says the car is tight, tight, tight.
On point, Casey Kane, the ex-midget star. Those are midget race cars. I'm sorry, it didn't come out quite right. He's young, but he's not short.
No, and I tell you what else he's not short on. That's talent.
Yes.
You know how it's to come here, drive that race car, and lap this field and go around this track the way he is, and he's just a rookie. I mean, how good is this kid, and how good is that race car?
If you notice right up there in the crawl, it was showing when these cars will be on pit road, which won't be long, Mike.
So let's take a break before these drivers do. You're watching the Samsung Radioshack 500. Welcome back to Texas, where Casey Kane has just become the Old Spice lap leader of the race, eclipsing Bill Elliott, who has led twice for a total of 26 laps. We're coming up on green flag pit stops. Larry Foyt is in. Michael Waltrip is in. Both of those are cars that have been lapped by our leader, Casey Kane. Right now, we have 26 of the 43 starters still on the lead lap as we get into pit stops. Now, 4 Dodges at the front, then Elliott Sadler, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Greg Biffle. We listened to Biffle and crew chief Doug Richard talk about race strategy.
Starting to get this a little tight, center out. The right front's giving up. Probably maybe the camber. A little bit free and a little tight off.
10-4. We'll get some air pressure out of the left side. Might even take this a little bit of wedge so we can keep up with this racetrack because it is getting a little warmer.
10-4.
course, that was his crew chief, Doug Richard, talking to Greg Biffle, and what he's talking about, this racetrack goes to a change. We talked about that in the beginning. As it heats up, the cars will start to slide more. And what Greg Biffle's telling him, I can feel that right front not gripping anymore, but it's about the time because we've almost went through this entire stop.
Yeah, he's probably worn out the right front. Plus, 300 miles yesterday in the Busch race. Now, you run these cars here again today, you get a lot of rubber down on the track. She gets slippery.
Our points leader, Matt Kenseth, in the 17 car, who was not far from going a lap down, Jeannie, he's on pit road for his green flag stop.
Yeah, I think they want to cut their losses while they can. They saw what Matt was able to do during the Saturday Busch race, making up the ground. Interestingly enough, he said the car seems to be running better on the old tires, but he's going with 4 stickers here, cleaning off the grill and trying to get back to work.
Mark Martin is in. Greg Biffle, Terry Labonte, and Jimmy Johnson have been on pit road, Dick.
And you heard what they were going to do to Greg Biffle's car. The wrench has already been in the back for that wedge change. Tires are on the car. Fuel is in, and he's gone. To Matt.
The leader, Casey Kane, will be coming next time by. Meanwhile, the 0-1 at Joe Nemechek in. Track bar adjustment already completed. Way too snug in the center of turns 1 and 2. To Dick.
Bill Elliott, 4 tires and gas. This car has been absolutely flawless today. His pickup crew with their borrowed uniforms over the wall trying to compete with the guys that are out there every single week in NASCAR's biggest division. A nice stop. Steve.
Dick Sterling Marlin saying that his car is tight on exit. No chassis adjustments to that number 40 Dodge, and Marlin is away. Matt. The 9 car of Casey Kane pulls around Rusty Wallace's Dodge. No changes for young Casey Kane. He says the car is very much to my liking. A little free, tick tight, but not bad at all. As Jim Pullman hits those lugs in the left front. A close call between the two of Rusty Wallace as he exits. Ryan Newman is in. You can see the wrench going in the back window. Service complete for Casey Kane. They're going to make a chassis adjustment for Ryan Newman. He was a little bit free and a little bit tight on the 12 car. As a 97 of Kurt Busch is also in today.
Elliott Sadler now pitting. He slid a little bit further than he wanted to, but the car is still in a legal position on pit road. They're in the process of a 4-tire change. Fuel the last thing. Off he goes.
Jeff Gordon is in as well, so is Kenny Schrader. As green flag stops continue, one scary moment for Derek Cope's crew. His car stalled. They had to push him down pit road, and then his crew members had to dive over the wall as Kurt Busch was coming into his pit.
And I believe he's back on pit road again, Mike. That's a shame. He had moved himself in the top 10 in points, or top 10 in the race, and he's back on pit road again.
Bobby Labonte, the pole sitter, done and gone. Here's Steve.
Mike Dale Jr. saying that his race car has been snug or a little bit tight. They'll change 4 tires, put the wedge wrench in to make an adjustment on the right rear corner of that race car. Bill Drive changing front tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Car up on the left side. And Earnhardt Jr. back on the racetrack, 14.5 seconds.
Tony Stewart's crew completes their work. Jimmy Spencer now comes onto pit road. He this week replaced Kevin LePage in the Morgan McClure number 4. Scott Riggs completes his stop and goes back out. Let's show you Kurt Busch as he comes in, and you'll see crewmen that push Derek Cope's car along having to dive out of the way. Busch has to hit the brake pretty hard to get to his pit.
Yeah, and I mean, he's running 45 miles an hour right there.
Derek Cope did come back down pit road for a drive-through penalty,
which is going to probably put him now a lap down, which is a shame. We talked about it in the beginning. Good race cars, you can't make mistakes.
Johnny Sauter will be the last driver to hit pit road. He does pick up the lead as green flag pit stops cycle through. So the Richard Childress AOL Chevy gets credited for leading a lap here. And now Ricky Craven on pit road as well. Craven had gone a lap down. So I believe all the lead lap cars have now made their stop.
Interesting to watch everybody come on pit road. Some guys come on pit road to get down in the middle of just off of 4 there. Others come all the way around here and just go in at the commit line.
But you know, Darrell, you talk about this a lot. I'm a little concerned that some of these crew chiefs aren't communicating with each other, and they're pitting at the same time, neighbors.
McDonald's drive-through championship fueled by Powerade. Kurt Busch led those standings coming into this race. Green flag stops complete. We'll be right back.